Hello, Commanders, and welcome to another day in Star Trek Fleet Command. It's an exciting day. We're just wrapping up the Battle Pass. We have this week here, and then we'll be looking at a new arc next month. And just a reminder that next month we should be having an event store, so that should be exciting to end up with a 2-season, or I should say 2-month arc here, and it should be interesting to see what we get next month. Hopefully you were able to secure yourself per card and data. I think there'll be a great benefit to players now and going forward. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit because I've been trying to think of things that I can present to you or content I can create to kind of help players with where they're at. And I know we've got players, 60s plus, working towards 70. I'm at 54 myself, but we've got players all the way from the beginning, early stages of the game to the higher ups. But as I've been thinking about some of the videos I've been watching and kind of get the feeling in the community that there's a lot of people in that 40 range, mid 40 range, working towards 50. And I thought, it might be helpful for planning purposes to share a video that talks about the G5 uncommon ships and kind of what's gone through my mind to help me decide. So that's what we're going to go into today. But before we do that, if you are new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. It's a huge help to help the channel grow. Hit that like button and hit the bell notifications so you don't miss future content. And we'll jump right into it. So what I did, and this is kind of what prompted me, right, was I was looking at my ships and I started off with the Vorcha, and I did put a video out about that, and I failed on this because it was kind of a knee-jerk reaction where I ended up getting the Corvus. I decided I wanted another G5 ship, and forgive me, oh Lord, because now I've got 2 ships to worry about costs for upgrading, which is really eating into my titanium reserves. So I'll have to learn to balance that out some way. But it was interesting when I compared the two, for example, and this was just something that jumped out to me and I thought might be useful to kind of share with you, but so tier 4, let me go to my officer screen so you can see I'm meeting all my ship bonuses, and this is a typical crew that I have used. I like using to send on armadas. So it's just something I threw on there just to kind of show you that. But if I go back to the details tab here, I thought it was interesting that the damage per round is 20.1 million. And this is a tier 4 ship. And I thought it'd be interesting just to look. So if I go to the upgrade screen, I'll show you. So tier 4 vanilla, don't have any upgrades there yet. But if I swap over to the Corvus, I found this very interesting. I wanted to share this with you. That the damage per round on a tier 1, and let me go to the upgrade screen so you can see where it's at. I've done quite a few upgrades. I still have 2 left. Really close. Ooh, it's so tempting. I could take that to tier 2. I might do that because it's not costing any uncommons. But what, 23? Oh, I hate this. 23 billion. Trit 37. So that would take basically all my trits. So I can't do that yet. But anyways, I thought, wow, that's interesting. So I want to do a comparison. And so what I did, and a lot of it's going to be pretty common when you compare the different ship types from explorers, battleships, interceptors. So I wanted to talk to you really quick. What I did was I went to here. I went to STFC.space, and I pulled up each of the ships and looked at them at tier 1. And I wanted to see, okay, what's their DPR and all these stats that we find here. Okay, and I plugged them into this spreadsheet here, and for ease purposes, I just threw it into Google Sheets. But just comparing at tier 1 the different ships, and it was interesting. And this is just at tier 1, but the Corvus has the highest DPR, so damage per round. So I found that pretty interesting. So when you're looking at ships, if you want something that's going to do a lot of damage, Corvus might be your best bet. People will tend to pick battleships if they kind of gear their gameplay more towards armadas, because battleships tend to have the hull health to last long enough to really take out those targets. But if you can do more damage with the Corvus, maybe that's something you want to consider. Also, there's the North Cut. As the Interceptor, people sometimes will pick the Interceptor for the sole reason of the impulse speed. And actually, that's not listed here. Okay, well, I will have to look at that, but I don't have that on my analysis here. But basically, interceptors are going to be faster, so you'll be able to zoom between hostiles much quicker and get your dailies done quicker for that reason. So sometimes people will go for an interceptor for that reason. Armor piercing, won't be surprising that that's an interceptor because they are strongest against battleships, and battleships are strongest. Their strongest stat is their armor. So we can see that down here that the Corvus, or not the Corvus, the Vorcha has the highest armor. Shield piercing, you're going to have that in a battleship because they're strongest against explorers. Explorers who have, as we see here, their highest stat being the shield deflection. And so a lot of those things are pretty standard for the highest stats for different type of ships, right? Critical damage, critical hit chance, they're going to be the same for all three. 10% critical chance with 150% critical damage. Talked about those. Shield health, you're going to have the highest shields. And this I found interesting, and I hope that this is accurate on the website here. But I would have thought that you would have the highest shield health with the Corvus being an explorer. But according to STFC.space, the shield health is highest on the Interceptor, which I found interesting. So if I go back here, I believe this is still the North Cut. Yep, USS Northcutt, Interceptor, so shield health 1.4, almost 1.5 million. So interesting. And if I'll hop over to the Corvus to show you that on the video here. Make sure I got that right, but the shield health 1.3. So interesting that the Northcutt has the highest according to, unless Scopely like flipped those, or unless the website just hadn't been updated correctly, and that's certainly possible because we did see an error in that before. So if anyone can confirm that, feel free to leave a comment below. That'd be super helpful. Hull health is the highest with the battleship, which makes sense. So here's a quick kind of just comparison that hopefully will help you look at your own ships or your own strategy if you're planning to go even in the next probably 3 to 6 months. This hopefully can help you decide on which ship you might want to have. The thing that you shouldn't ignore is the ship ability. So let's talk about that lastly. With the battleship, the Vorcha, each time the Vorcha is hit, it increases the critical hit damage by 1%. And these numbers here are all based upon base stats. So if we hop back into STFC.space, we go to the Vorcha, we can see, and this is 1%, it's just how it's presented in decimal rather than percentage. And then it's level 6, so when you get your ship to tier 2, it goes to 2%, and it's going to scale up. It looks like it takes until tier 4, level 20, before it jumps to 3%, and so forth. Let's see. Stays 3% all the way to level 50. So it's going to take you a while to see some benefit from that itself. So it's cumulative. It's going to, every time it's hit, it's going to increase its critical hit damage. So the longer the rounds, the greater this is going to impact your gameplay there. The Corvus, each time the Corvus is hit, so also triggers when it's hit, it increases the armor piercing, shield piercing, and accuracy by 40%. And if we hop into STFC.space and we go back to the Corvus, We see it starts at 40%. It jumps up to 50% at level 7. And where does it go by level 50? Just to kind of get a comparison there, 225. So the advantage here is that it's increasing its piercing values, which means it's going to lower the mitigation, essentially, of the ship that you're hitting or the target that you're hitting, and more will get past the shields into the hull. So that is advantageous for sure. Okay, so the North Cut, each time the USS North Cut is hit, it increases the weapon damage by 2%. So increasing the damage output. Let's have a look at that. So 2% goes up to 3, and then 4 at level 13. How high does it go up at level 50? We're just looking at level 50 because that's where the Vorcha jumps up again. 10% at level 49. So pretty good. It's going to do some good damage there when you can get it tiered up. And once again, I think the benefit here is just doing a lot more damage. So hopefully you can overcome whatever it's mitigating because your output is that much higher. So those are just some things to think about when you are looking at your ships, and which ship you might want to go for. As a reminder, and I can show you this on STFC.space, and this is actually something that that I've looked at and talked about, I think, in a couple of the videos here, but each of the faction or the uncommon ships is going to cost you, like right here, 450,000 Federation credits for the North Cut. It's going to cost you the same amount of Romulan credits for the Corvus and the same amount of Klingon credits for the Vorcha. So my strategy has kind of been, let's look at the different ships that we have, the uncommon, the rare, and the epic, if you're going to go for an epic. For me, I did with the G4 ships, and I'm planning on doing the same thing with the G5 ships, based solely upon the fact that they have the Enterprise, and I am a sucker for the Enterprise. So whether it's a good option or not, I'm going to go for it. So here's the Enterprise D. I fully expect to get that someday. Problem is, it's 2 million faction credits, so I am definitely going to have to save a while for that. My decision for how I planned out, because I planned out all my ships, basically what I'm going to get for the next 2 levels. And this is all based upon the fact that if I have to settle on just one ship per rarity, then I'm going to go for the USS Enterprise D, because I started playing this game to get the Enterprise. Bottom line. That's why I started playing this game. I just want to play with the Enterprise. And so I've gotten every Enterprise, and I will fully plan on getting this one. That leaves me to looking at the rare ships. I've looked at them, and I like the Sanctus, the Romulan ship, the most, just because of its shipability. And just for the heck of things, let's pull up the Sanctus, and I'll just show that to you really quick. It decreases shield health by 10% at the beginning of each round. Kind of like Yuki, where you're shield stripping the shields, and once the shields go down, well, you can do a lot more damage. And so I end up, that's kind of the ship I'm saving for now for my next level. You can come here and you can look at all the rare ships. So we could say we want to see rare, G5, all. Don't worry so much, I guess, about the survey ships, although those are important. But you can look at these different ships. The Qua Sompek. So when fighting hostiles, decreases hostile armor piercing, shield piercing accuracy by 12% for the first 5 rounds of combat. And then the USS Crozier decreases hostile critical hit damage by 2% for the first 5 rounds of combat. So for me, the Sanctus just sounds like a better ship for how I typically play. Usually I'm more of a PvE player than a PvP player. So anyways, the Sanctus is going to be probably my next ship, and since they cost so stinking much, I probably will only get 1 rare and 1 epic. If I happen to get some from loot boxes that I do turn-ins for on a regular basis, then that would be great. That's fantastic. But that's kind of my strategy and my plan and kind of what I look at when I'm looking at things. So I hope this information is helpful. There's definitely some differences, and your decision might be based upon the fact that, well, I just have enough faction credits, so I may go for this ship as opposed to that ship, and that's fine too. What I would encourage you is that you have a look at this and you think ahead. Don't get to level 50 and then all of a sudden start thinking, oh crap, I need to start saving faction credits. What one am I going to get? Start saving for it now. Start planning for it now. Even if you're not quite to 50, but you're kind of getting up there, I would start planning out. Start thinking what uncommon, rare, and epic ship that you are going to get, so you can start planning and saving for those, because they cost a crazy amount of credits. Like I just showed you, 2 million for an epic if you're going to get that. It's 1 million for a rare and 450,000 for each uncommon, assuming you get more than one, but 450,000 credits. So pretty expensive, but something you can start planning for today. If you have any other questions, please leave them below. Don't forget to join the Discord. That's where we'll announce our monthly giveaways. And any questions, feel free to drop them below or on Discord so I can try and help you out, or other people who have joined the Discord can help out as well. Kind of create a community of people helping each other play this game. So anyways, thank you so much and have a wonderful day.